Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be talking about construction contracts and all the different rules and parts of them and all the different types of them. So first we have to understand the different parties of the contracts. The different parties are the owners, designers, prime contractors, subcontractors, and suppliers. So the owner would be the one who is having them build something, like the owner of the land. He will eventually own the final product, and he's hiring these people to build it for him. The designer is the one who designs the building or whatever they're building, and then he has to have that done in so much time, and it has to make sure it's up to code. And the prime contractor is the number one contractor. He's the one who's going to be doing the majority of the building, but then there's also the subcontractor, and this is like people that you would like farm out your work to, kind of like the electricians, the plumbers, and like all that, like tape and texturing. And then the suppliers are obviously the people who supply you with the materials that you need. So the purpose of construction contracts. A construction contract is defined as a legally binding agreement within which the structure, detail, and identification of both commitments and parties involved in the construction project are illustrated. So the purpose of the contract is to define the duties between the parties, recognize and locate the risks of the different parties, and reduce the uncertainty surrounding the project and allow the parties to plan for the project in the future. So basically, the purpose of the contract is to make sure everybody knows what they're doing, knows the risk of it, and knows what's going to happen. And they have like the goals, and it's basically so that nobody is confused. Verbal versus written in construction contracts. In construction contracts, a verbal contract may be enforced, but it is recommended that it be in writing since there's so many different moving parts in these contracts. Now there are 5 types of contracts. The first type is the unit price contract. This is based on anticipated quantities of items that will be used in the project. The final price of the project depends on how much materials were required to complete the work. So this just basically says that they have a base price for each material, and then at the end they add up all the materials that they use, and that's how they get their final price. The second is the lump sum contract. This is when the contractor agrees to perform the duty for a set price. So say the contractor would agree to build a building for $40,000. No matter what, he can't accept, or he can't ask for more than $40,000. He doesn't get more, he doesn't get less, he gets $40,000. The third type is the cost plus contract. This is when the buyer pays for the complete cost of labor and materials and the amount of the contractor profit. So when contractors build it, they have their labor, and then they also sometimes add just more so that they have more of a profit. And this is where that contract would come into. The fourth contract is the incentive contract. This is when compensation is based on the timeline or budget. The contractors are rewarded for getting things done faster or for less than the budget. So if the budget was, say, $100,000 and he gets it done for like $90,000, he would get compensated for that. He'd basically get like a bonus for doing it faster or for less money. The fifth one is the percentage of construction contracts. This is when compensation is given to the contractor and is based on the percentage of the cost of the construction. So if this job is worth $40,000 and say they get like a 2% compensation, then he'll get 2% of $40,000 for his work. But if it's worth $1 million, then he'll get 2% of the $1 million that it's worth. So basically these contracts are all based on how they charge people and how they get their money. Now there's other contracts, there's residential and commercial contracts, and these also include other types of laws and stuff. So in residential contracts, it will include the details of the construction project, and it will include architectural plans and the process and the expected results. It also includes the project schedule, and this will also outline the time frame of the project. It will include the start date and the completion dates. It also includes project funding. This outlines the method of payment, rate of payment, and the terms of payment. So residential, again, is for like if they're going to build a house for somebody, like the residents of the town. And then commercial is more of like your skyscraper buildings and your bigger buildings. So a commercial contract also includes other types of material. It has the terms of service that will be undertaken, as a legislative section, and this makes it so that the construction company will adhere to any or all legislations required by the local jurisdiction. It also contains a contingency clause. This provides the method of modification in the event that the express terms are not met by either parties involved. And then there's the default clause. This illustrates the process in the event that either party violates the terms of the contract. So I have an example of a residential contract. It's really long, it's like 7 pages, but basically it starts out by determining who the contract is between. It then goes on to state the agreement, plan, specification, and allowance schedule. The next part states that the owner may request changes in the work, and this contract also states that the standard of work and that the owner may not do any work in the home until the contractor has been paid in full. The contract goes on to discuss the prices and payments that will be agreed upon, and the next part of the contract states that the time and completion of the work. In this contract, it said that it will be completed in approximately 180 calendar days, which starts the day the concrete slab is poured. The contract also contains a warranty that protects each party, and the last section contains miscellaneous information that must be included. And then they sign at the bottom, and then they have their contract. Here are my sources, and I hope you guys learned something about construction contracts.